Welcome to another edition of Photoshop for Video. I'm your host, Rich Harrington, and today we're going to continue our look at making selections quick and getting accurate selections that get the job done. What I want to do now is take a look at using channels to create a selection. Last week we used calculations where we combined multiple channels together. Today we're going to look at an even simpler technique where we just use a single channel to quickly make a new selection. Let's go ahead with an image like we have here and switch over to the Channels palette. And you'll see in the case of this image, they're all fairly similar. That's because there's not a lot of color in this image. So I'm just looking at the individual channels, trying to find one that has the least detail in the background. You'll see here in the red channel that we have some distracting noise here above this top of the lion's head. If we look in the green channel, it's there too, but not as strong. And the blue channel, it's the least amount. So let's go ahead and drag the blue channel on top of the new icon there, and it's called Blue Copy. I'll go ahead and rename this Alpha, and that's just for my own use. The Alpha channel does not have to be called Alpha. Any channel added to the image will automatically function as an alpha. So if you have an RGB image where you have a red, green, and blue channel, and you add another channel, that fourth channel automatically becomes the alpha channel. And while Photoshop supports multiple alpha channels, you'll want to make sure that you only have one alpha channel in your finished document if you're doing a video-based workflow. That's because video applications get confused when they encounter more than one alpha. Here we go. We've got this layer selected, the alpha, and I'll go ahead and press Command L. And let's just pull the black slider in to push the shadowy areas to a cleaner black. And then drag the white slider in until the image starts to go ahead and go white. Now, if it's not getting the rest of the way there, you can go ahead and use the middle slider here. But what I sometimes find is I'll do multiple passes. So while that went pretty well, I can go ahead and do a second levels adjustment. So let's just go ahead and play with that middle slider there until we get a pretty good push to white. And you see that we're doing a good job there. It's just about there. The rest of the way we can get there with our paintbrush. So I'll go ahead and hit B for brush and then D for default colors. And remember, right bracket gives you a nice big brush. So you just have to paint that in. A most common mistake that people make is trying to get perfection from the get-go. Remember, it will take a little bit of time. Now, if you want to see things easier, what I recommend is turning the alpha channel on so you can actually see what you're painting on. So now when we paint with white here on the alpha channel, it's represented pretty cleanly here, and we see it as an overlay. If you don't want to see it as red, just double click on the alpha channel, and you could change the color to make it stand out more. In this case, I'll go with blue, and I'll set it to a 80% opacity. That makes it really easy for me to see where I still need to clean up. And of course, we'll occasionally need to zoom in so we can move around this a little bit better and just pick up some of those shadowy areas at the edges. That works very well. And just a little bit of touch-up. Remember, you can always use your navigator here to see what's going on, and all I'm doing is picking up the shadows. Left bracket for a smaller brush. And we just clean up those edges. Panning around by holding down the space bar or dragging in the navigator. And just fill in the shadowy areas that did not get picked up. So, as we drag through here, that looks pretty good. I'm just looking for any holes, which would be indicated by blue. And as we drag through, it looks pretty good. Remember, you can always be a tweaker and touch this up. And here we have a little bit of a problem where the alpha channel is not perfectly clean. So I'll just flip over and paint with black there to fill in a little bit of holes. That seems to do a good job. And just get that chin. And there you have it. Command 0 or Control 0 to zoom out. Now, we've made a clean alpha channel there. All we need to do is save this as a picked TIFF or a PSD file with the embedded alpha. So we'll go ahead and choose File, Save As. Specify a TIFF format and make sure the alpha channel box is checked. In the next box with TIFF options, do not add any compression to the image And do not check the Save Transparency box, because this can cause you problems. At this point, you just click OK and write the file, and you've got a file with embedded transparency that'll key in real time. Understanding how to get to those selections is really important. In this case, we turned the selection into an alpha channel. If you just wanted to turn it into a selection, remember, it's easy. By just command clicking on the thumbnail for the alpha channel, it will load. And of course, if you need to, you can always touch it up. See how we're getting a few little problems here? So that's a sign that I need to clean up my alpha. So let's just click on that alpha really quick, and we'll paint a little bit more in here in the ears. And we'll load it. That seems pretty good. If I want to, I could say select modify feather and do a 1 or 2 pixel feather. That picked up the stray pixels. And we'll go to the layers channel here, double click to make this a layer and call it lion, and click the add layer mask button, and there we have our stored transparency. So, piece of cake, using the color information in the image to create a selection without having to get into complex tools like the pen tool. For Photoshop for Video, I'm Rich Harrington. I invite you to check out our resource blog at photoshopforvideo.com, where you can find out more about the new book and some of the free tutorials and downloads we have. Thanks again.